Welcome to Hidden Finance, the channel where economics and finance reveal their most hidden secrets. Today, we'll uncover a new mystery that has shaped global markets and influenced the economy. It is September 15th, 2008. Lehman Brothers, the fourth largest investment bank in the United States, suddenly declares bankruptcy. This event marks the beginning of one of the most severe global financial crises, with devastating effects felt for years, impacting both the American and global economies. But how did Lehman Brothers become so significant? To understand this, we need to take a journey back in time, tracing the origins of the bank and its founders. Today, we will explore the history of the Lehman Brothers, the men who created one of the most influential financial institutions in history. The story of Lehman Brothers begins long before its official founding. In 1844, Henry Lehman, a 21-year-old young man, left his home in Rimpar, Bavaria, and moved to the United States. Henry, born as Hayum Lehman, was the son of Abraham Lehman, a Jewish cattle trader. The Lehman family was of Ashkenazi origin, and the surname itself reflected the family's German and Yiddish roots. Once in America, Henry simplified his last name to Lehman to better fit into American culture. While many Jewish immigrants of the time settled in New York, drawn by the opportunities offered by the rapidly growing city, Henry made a different choice. He decided to settle in Montgomery, Alabama, an unusual decision for the time. Perhaps his choice was influenced by his family's agricultural roots, or by the awareness that Alabama, with its second-largest cotton trade port, offered great economic opportunities. Once settled in Montgomery, Henry opened a small grocery store called H. Lehman. This store was the first step in building the future financial empire. In the following years, Henry brought over his younger brothers, Emanuel and Mayer, who joined him in running the business. With their arrival, the store was renamed Lehman Brothers, and it began to diversify its offerings, expanding beyond simple groceries. In those years, the United States was experiencing the gold rush, and the Lehman Brothers quickly demonstrated a remarkable ability to adapt to new circumstances. They recognized the opportunity offered by trading goods needed by gold prospectors, such as shovels, picks, and even carrier pigeons, used for communication in remote areas. It was precisely through this skill in seizing the moment's opportunities that the Lehmans began to lay the foundations for their future success. The real turning point for Lehman Brothers came when the brothers decided to accept cotton as a form of payment for their products. At a time when the American textile industry was booming, cotton was an extremely valuable commodity. The Lehmans thus began acting as intermediaries in the cotton trade, buying goods with money, accepting cotton as payment, and then reselling it at higher prices. This activity, initially marginal, eventually became the core of their business. However, the cotton trade was not without its dark sides. The cotton economy was closely tied to slavery, a reality the Lehmans could not ignore. In 1860, according to the census, Mayer Lehman was recorded as owning 7 slaves. This involvement in slavery represents one of the most controversial aspects of Lehman Brothers' history, a dark past that the bank was forced to officially acknowledge only in 2003, when descendants of the slaves filed a lawsuit against the company. In the years leading up to the American Civil War, the Lehman Brothers continued to expand their business. In 1858, they opened an office in New York, moving the heart of their commercial operations to the financial capital of the United States. This move would prove crucial for the future of the company. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, the Lehmans found themselves on the side of the Southern Confederate States, as their main business, the cotton trade, was closely tied to the Southern economy. During the war, the Lehmans managed to survive thanks to their commercial astuteness. They stockpiled essential goods and sold them at reasonable prices, thereby maintaining a loyal customer base. Additionally, they provided free credit to the Confederacy and supplied the Army with cotton and wool for uniforms, ensuring a steady income even in times of conflict. Despite being on the losing side, the Lehmans managed to emerge from the war unscathed. Thanks to a pardon granted by President Andrew Johnson, their assets and properties were returned, allowing them to continue their business activities without suffering significant losses. In fact, the end of the war offered them new opportunities. Alabama, devastated by the conflict, needed to be rebuilt, and the Lehmans played a key role in this process, selling bonds and investing in new infrastructure. By the early 20th century, Lehman Brothers was already a well-established player in the commodities trade. However, the brothers realized that to continue growing, they needed to evolve. In 1868, they moved the company's headquarters to New York on Pearl Street and began to focus increasingly on the financial sector. At this point, the company began expanding its activities beyond the simple cotton trade. Lehman Brothers played a crucial role in creating the New York Cotton Exchange, the market where commodities were bought and sold. This move marked the beginning of the company's transformation into a full-fledged investment bank. The next step was to enter the underwriting and trading of securities. In the early 20th century, Lehman Brothers began collaborating with other major investment banks, such as Goldman Sachs, to raise funds for large American companies. A prime example of this activity was the underwriting of the launch of General Electric, one of the largest financial operations of the time. Over the years, Lehman Brothers continued to grow, becoming one of the most influential investment banks in the United States. The company contributed to the launch of numerous successful enterprises, raising funds for companies like Studebaker and Woolworth, and expanding its reach in the financial world. However, with growth came challenges. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, Lehman Brothers survived thanks to its financial prudence and the diversification of its activities. But this was just one of many storms the company would have to weather throughout the 20th century. During the 20th century, Lehman Brothers repeatedly faced global economic crises, regulatory changes, and increasing competition in the financial sector. Despite these challenges, the company continued to thrive, expanding internationally and becoming a benchmark in the world of finance. However, the story of Lehman Brothers does not have a happy ending. After decades of success and unstoppable growth, the bank began showing signs of weakness at the beginning of the new millennium. Its exposure to subprime mortgages, a high-risk sector of the real estate market, proved fatal. On September 15, 2008, Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy, marking the beginning of the global financial crisis that would shake the world economy. This event, the largest bankruptcy in the history of investment banks, highlighted the vulnerabilities of the global financial system and left an indelible mark on collective memory. The fall of Lehman Brothers was a moment of great reflection for the financial world. It was a clear signal that even giants can fall, and that no one is immune to the consequences of risky decisions and an increasingly complex and interconnected financial system. The story of Lehman Brothers is a tale of ambition, success, but also of mistakes and tragic failures. It is the story of how a small grocery store in Alabama transformed into one of the world's largest investment banks, and how, despite everything, this greatness proved fragile in the face of market forces. Today, the fall of Lehman Brothers reminds us of the importance of prudence, transparency, and responsibility in the financial world. It serves as a warning to all those who operate in this sector, a call to never lose sight of the lessons of the past. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next mysteries of the economic world. But what's your opinion? Share it in the comments.